Howdy guys, it is Vic and you are back on my channel. So today we're going to talk about something that it's been a reoccurring theme for me personally, specifically at work, but just in general, in the world, honestly, across the whole gamut of life, I guess, or what have you there. It's something that I've always kind of noticed, and it used to bother me a lot, and then I just kind of accepted the fact that that's just how it was. That that was life, that was people, and the world, and that not everyone could be that kind, bright entity that the world needs to continue on. And so more or less kind of what I want to cover today is morals, and particularly how they come into play in an interaction between people, and I don't want to say hierarchy, and it's not quite right, but just how in the workplace or in school or in any type of setting where there's some type of a ranking system. It can even go as far as families with the siblings, from the youngest to the oldest, or this grandparent versus that grandparent. This just it falls into every kind of area, and I've always noticed it. It's something I've always, wondered about, thought about. But it's something that I've always, seen and witnessed. And, I myself don't really get too competitive, I guess. I've never really had that a desire and drive for power and success. To me, success is self-fulfillment, not just how high up the corporate ladder I can climb, or how much money I can make, which obviously I want to make money. Who doesn't? You got to pay bills, and sometimes it's nice to be able to pay bills, save, and do fun stuff, because I mean that's life, right? That's living the life, is being able to live where you want, have what you want, and do what you want, right? Who wouldn't want that? But the way that some people go about gaining that, or when they also insert that power hungriness, and that need for recognition, and for that title and those accolades, that's when things start to get into that dark area, where something that could be seen as a positive motivator and drive then turns into something that could become extremely negative, and ultimately will bring down any environment that it's put in. And with taking on the position that I took in my current day job back last year, I've seen the insane roller coaster that is that process, and a progression of starting out with this genuine good thing that you want to achieve, and that drive for positive success. And I've seen it take all kinds of twists and turns into something that's just not right, and that nosedives like hardcore, and just changes people, and not for the better. And it's honestly really disheartening. It's one of those things that made me contemplate whether or not I wanted to keep doing what I was doing. Like I love where I work, what I do, and all that, and I know that a lot of the things that made it stressful weren't because of the job itself, like the actual physical aspect of the job and what I was doing. It was just the environment that I was in, because of the people I was surrounded by, and how they chose to motivate and drive themselves to get what they wanted. And again, there's nothing wrong with having the drive to get what you personally want, but you also have to take into account that it's not always going to be just you doing the one thing to get yourself to that one place. For instance, say you are a college student, and you're in a class, and you're just you're Your only focus and concern is yourself, your homework, your work, your grade. What Sally here next to you and Bob over here on this side is doing does in no way affect your own personal grade. So in that sense, yeah, like have that tenacious drive that like I don't care what you guys are doing. I'm gonna make sure my stuff's right, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do whatever I have to make sure it's good. Mind you, within reason. Don't cheat or bribe your teacher or whatever. Obviously, but it's okay to have that single-minded focus on trying to achieve that goal. But then when you take that same drive and put it into a team setting at a job, and then it's not just you trying to achieve the one thing that only affects you, but that your job now and your drive now affects a group of people. And if you decide to make it all about you as opposed to about the team and what's going to drive the success of whatever business you're in, or with a family, what's going to push you towards whatever lifestyle of happiness that will make everyone comfortable and just content, and you forget about everyone else and make it about you. That's when it becomes toxic and poisonous. And I dealt with a lot of that for the past it's been, I guess, the past year, honestly. I mean, like, if I really think back to when things first started, and how it dipped down and then went back up and then slowly started to dip back down again until I it almost broke me. It really did. But I'm still trucking and things are slowly starting to tick back up again. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Got my notes. So I'm going to start with talking just a little bit about myself personally, and kind of explain to you guys my own personal set of morals, so you can kind of understand better the contrast between a lot of what I've witnessed and dealt with over the past year. And honestly, I could even go much further back and over the past few years, because again, it's something that's always been there, that I've always seen, but I guess no one talks about it. Everyone just accepts it as what it is. But personally, for me, how I was raised, so from a very young age, I was always told that whatever work that you put into something is what you're going to get out of it. And that's a pretty, well-known, basic, universal concept. Obviously, you whatever you put in is what you get out. It's like a machine. You put in 10 apples, you're going to get 10 cups of applesauce. You put in 10 oranges, you're going to get 10 cups of orange juice. And likewise with work, schoolwork, your own personal relationships, things like that. Whatever you put into it is what you're going to get back. If you put negativity into something, negative stuff's going to come back to you. If you put positivity into something, that's what you're going to get back. If you put 70% effort into whatever job you're doing, you're going to have only 70% of a finished product. If you put 100% into it, you'll have a completely finished product. If you put 120% into it, you'll have a finished product that is 20% better than all of the rest of the product. If you kind of get what I'm getting there. And that's what I was always told. It's how I always tried to operate. And I noticed within my own life when I started to veer away from that and do stuff differently and start to pull back on the effort that I was putting into things, then I noticed a decline in the quality of whatever it was I was doing. Good case in point, school. Prior to, truthfully, high school, I definitely owe a lot to a handful of teachers from Florida, but also just because it just wasn't possible to fully reach out to each individual student I inevitably, became one of those kids who kind of fell through the crack. Thankfully, I didn't get into like, the gang violence side of things and, get caught up with a bunch of drugs and all that stuff. But I had friends who did. I have some friends that they're probably in jail right now, honestly. And then I have other friends who, just kept their head down, stuck it out, and pretty much went from school to home and then, home to school and didn't go anywhere else, because if you did, well, that was just asking to get into stuff. And now, they're making a life for themselves, and that's awesome. For me, I ended up essentially, having to move to put myself into a, better environment for things to be remedied. And then I went from, not knowing if I was going to pass a class or not to, not even worrying about it, knowing I was going to. And then, the only thing I had to be accountable for was just doing my homework instead of, hoping to God that I actually understood what it was I was doing, because, there's just too much going on. Like, I went from, like, thinking, well, what's the point? Like, I'm going to be failing anyway, so why put in the effort to, hey, now that I have, the correct positive environment now, I want to put in more so I can do better. And I graduated with a 3.75, GPA, which doesn't sound like, great stuff or anything, but to me, going from like probably like a 1 point something GPA up to that was phenomenal. I was always, told, work so hard that they can't lose you, they can't fire you. Firing you would hurt them. And so I applied that to everything I did, every job I did. I made myself unfireable. I didn't just, half-ass do tasks and stuff. I not only did them, but I did them well, so that way people would look at it and go, oh wow, that's actually really good. Good job. And, I'd be humble about it as well and say, thanks, just doing my job. Because going above and beyond shouldn't be something that's seen as extraordinary or extra. It should just be the norm. Sayings like, oh, stop working so hard, you're making me look bad. Those kinds of sayings wouldn't exist anymore, because everyone would be working hard, so everyone would look good and no one would look bad. But, that's unfortunately not how it is. It's how I try and operate, but, nowadays you just don't see it anymore, and it's kind of sad. Also, in general, me personally, I am one of my really close friends said it best, that my biggest strength and greatest weakness was how big my heart is, and that I'm just a very kind-natured person. I don't like to be mean. I don't like to lash out, and I'm not vindictive, and I'm not spiteful, and I don't do things purposely with the intent of hurting someone or causing them pain, whether it be physical or mental. I'm a very non-violent person. I can literally count on one hand the amount of fights I've gotten into. Obviously, I will stand up for my own and the things and people that I love, and I'll, I will defend myself, but I don't like being malicious. It just doesn't set well with me. I feel like it's just not right. Like, why be that way? What does it benefit? And so I don't do it. It's more beneficial to me. It makes me feel better to do something good and kind for someone, as opposed to doing something mean and hurtful to them. So that's just how I am, and yeah, it's screwed me over a lot. Because people, see nice, kind Vicky, and they try and, take advantage of that. They try and see how far they can push that, and see, well, just how far does her kindness go? Well, no one's that nice. Let's see if I can make her mean. Or like oh, well, she's so nice, she'd never do anything, to me, she's a pushover, and I can get away with this because she's nice. And there was a time where that was kind of true. But, as I've gotten older, I've learned where to draw the line, because, like, I don't want to be a doormat, I don't like that feeling. But, I'm not, ever going to do it in a mean or malicious way, regardless of how mad I am, and, the thoughts going through my head. I will always be professional. I will never be, just straight up like, mean, even if it's deserved, I can't do it. I don't want to. There's been very, very few people I can think of in my lifetime that I've ever wanted to hurt because I was that mad. So I've just always operated, on kindness, acceptance, all of that, good stuff. What I've noticed a lot over my life is that the world operates the complete opposite. I've seen so many times, both recently and just over the course of my life, just straight up manipulation for self gain. People will do anything to get what they want. Whether it's being one way to your face and then doing something different once you leave, whether it's straight up lying about you and saying things that are just not true, whether it's doing something that's just to the point of like, where like it's getting what needs to get done, but it's just not quite right, but it's not bad enough to like actually get in trouble for. It's just right on that line of like, if I do a little bit more, that I'm probably going to get in trouble. So I'm going to stay right here, so I'm still doing the thing I'm supposed to do, but I'm not going to get in trouble. I see that a lot. I see people say, oh, well, you did this one thing that one time, so now I can get away with this. Or well, you're not perfect, which, duh, obviously no one's perfect. And I will never ask for perfection. I will just ask for, whatever it is that's supposed to be done, whether it's, a job, a task, doing dishes at home, whatever it is, clean the litter box, whatever, do this thing at work, take out the trash, whatever, if there are certain tasks that are required of you to do per whatever job description or life title that you've taken on, do that job. It's I do it, whoever else is assigned to that does it, just do it. But people would rather make up excuses and not do that, and then when you try to call them out on it and say, hey, you're not doing this thing, I need you to do this thing, not even being mean about it, just saying, hey, so this isn't getting done, we need this to get done. The dishes haven't been done for a week, we got to do the dishes. Money hasn't been taken to the bank, we got to run those deposits to the bank. We don't want our place of business to get robbed and then all that money goes out the door. That would be awful. We don't want roaches to build up in the house, so you gotta do the dishes. You don't want the cats to get a UTI, so we gotta clean the box, right? It makes sense, doesn't it? One would think. But instead, people say, oh, well, but you don't do these things and this stuff, so I don't have to do this because no one's perfect. It's just manipulation, for their own self-gain, or for, their own, need to feel like they're better than you, even though they're the ones that aren't doing the thing that they're supposed to be doing. But they would rather find ways to make you look worse, to take away from how bad they look. And it boggles my mind. And, obviously just people being two-faced in general, and it's a unfortunate characteristic of life, it's a fatal flaw of human nature that, people will act one way and then, on the inside just not be that way. And I mean, you don't really know until you know, unfortunately. But it's just, it's one of those sucky things that, is part of life, but, that's the world. And people are just very quick to turn on you, like, whether you're the best person or the worst person or someone in between, that people will just turn on you. It seems like the world is lacking in a camaraderie, and no one wants to band together under, the name of accomplishing the task that is in front of them to set out, whether, again, it be a job, a family thing, a school sport, or whatever. Cliques always form, and then it always becomes a, them against, these folks, a you against me, quid pro quo, let's mutiny and all this stuff because we want to do it our way and not what they say. There's no let's do this together. That whole saying of teamwork makes the dream work is honestly kind of a joke most of the time. Like, yeah, teamwork makes a dream work, but there's no team. There's just no team anymore. And it's a sad thing, because the world would function a lot better if we could all just team together and do the things that need to be done. When I took the time to think about well, why is it like this? Like, what happened to make the world this way? The more basic, simple answer is greed, but not just greed, and that want and a desire for more, but greed that stems from self-preservation. And what I mean is that self-preservation will then, just cause them to get greedy and just want more and more, and I'm going to do what I need to make sure that, I survive, because I finally have this thing now, and I can't let anyone take that away from me. So people change because of that, and they go from being someone that, is happy and thankful, for having, finally found that thing that's going to, help them, not just survive but thrive, and it twists them into something, just dark. I honestly, can't say why it happens, because technically that could have happened with me, but it didn't. I mean, I could say it's because I'm such a kind-hearted person, and that I've always been humble, and it could be any number of things, why one person turns into that and why another person doesn't. But honestly, I don't know. That's the one thing that I don't know, is why, this self-preservation creates this weird kind of greed that causes people to backstab and lie and manipulate, to keep that thing that they feel like they need, which, especially in the case of a job, obviously they need that job, to pay their bills. But it gets to the point where it's just this vicious, maliciousness that just changes people, and it just just blows my mind how awful people can be, because they feel like, whatever it is that, they have, is so much higher than whatever you have, or whatever I have, and so they will do anything, including tearing down, everyone else's stuff, so they can keep what they have. And then when they have that, climb and try and grab as much as they can, and grab more, and me, mine, instead of, hey, I have this, let me share a little bit, let me do this for you, you know what, I've got enough, I can take care of my stuff now, you have this time. And it's just it's crazy. And then, obviously, the last thing that especially nowadays, I like to call it the lazy club. They oh yeah, and I'm gonna be a hard worker, and I'm gonna do this thing, and I'm great at this. I always give 110%. We're totally gonna do this. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna do all this stuff for you. And then as soon as they get, the job, the promotion, the raise, the whatever it is, the new car, the fancier house, they get lazy, because they think, oh, well, I've got it now. I don't have to do anything because I have this now. Someone else can do that because I have this, so I don't have to work for it anymore. I was only working hard because I wanted this thing, and now that I have it, I don't have to do it anymore. It's fine. It's cool. And they get set into that mindset of, well, I'm a this title now, so everyone else can do all this stuff, and I'll just sit back and relax because I worked hard for this, and I mean, you guys haven't worked that hard yet, so because I worked hard for this thing, I don't have to do anything anymore. And that's just wrong. If anything, you should work just as hard as you were, if not harder, to set the example for other folks, saying, hey, if you want to get this, you have to continue to work this hard to keep this thing, and working this hard is what gets you this. So you want this, do what I do, instead of, I have this, so you have to do all these things that I'm supposed to do. You see what I mean? It's just, it doesn't quite fit, it's infuriating, honestly, that people slip into that lazy mindset of you know I have this now, I'm in this position now, I don't have to do these things. And that's not true. That's not the case. Everyone still has to do their part. Everyone still has to do their job. Everyone still has to pull their weight in their family. Everyone still has to, pull their load on a school project. It's not fair. It's not fair to people, and it's just not right. I feel like the only real fix to this is for the world to receive some type of a injection of just genuine compassion. I thought long and hard about it, and I'm like, what could we possibly do to change this mess that our society and world and working you know interpersonal world is. What can start to fix this? What can start to remedy this? And it's compassion, genuine compassion, not just the oh yeah, oh well, that sucks, oh well, that's so awful. Oh well, if you ever need a shoulder to cry on, I'm here for you. I got you, and all that fake stuff. That's it's not that. It needs to be genuine. Like, you have to actually care about what you're doing. You have to care about the person that you're working with. You have to care about the person that you're living with. You have to care about the people around you, the people that you don't even know anything about. I found going through my own personal relationships, with things like breakups or ending friendships and stuff like that while yeah, I know mentally and emotionally this is going to be hard for me, and I need to preserve myself and protect myself, protect my own heart. But I often found myself, thinking about the other person, like, man, if I'm hurting this much, I wonder how much they're hurting, or like if I do this, even though it's something I know I need to do, I need to break this thing that's not working for me anymore, that's not good for me anymore, that's hurting me. I need to break this thing, but I'd still think, but what about them? And people thought I was nuts because they're like, no, like, screw them. They're the ones hurting you. Why do you care how they feel? They should feel hurt. They should feel pain. They should feel bad for what they did to you. And yeah, sure, maybe, they should, yeah. But like at the same time, they're still a person. They still have feelings. They still have to go through their day-to-day life and live still. So I still genuinely felt concern for them, and that's what the world needs, is that I hope they're okay too. That genuine, heartfelt compassion is what we need more of. And I'm not 100% sure how to go about, getting that, but if we don't have it and we don't figure it out, the things just aren't going to be good. We as a people, as a culture, as a society will never be better and never do better until we proactively stop thinking about ourselves and genuinely, compassionately think about others and show concern for others and do things for others. Not to be seen, not for any recognition. Honestly, do it and don't even tell people that you did it. Do some random act of kindness. Pay for someone's meal. Buy someone a coffee. Set a $20 bill next to a homeless guy while they're turned away looking at something. Buy a kid a toy because they're crying and their mom just looks beside herself and done with life. Pay for someone's gas. Tell someone they look nice today. There's so many things that people can do just to be kind and spread that little bit of light and joy back into the world, and do it genuinely. We need more compassion. That's the only way it's going to get better. And I guess that's really what I've been getting at this whole time, is that I see all of this negativity and manipulation and people just being awful to each other, strictly for their own gain. I just refuse to believe that that's how it is. I mean, I'm not like that. I'm sure many of you aren't like that. The whole world can't just be, these awful, self-centered, people that have been forced into this survival mode, and so now once they finally got that little piece of thing that's putting them over that ledge, that now they're just grabbing for everything and stepping over whoever and trampling over whoever that they have to. There's got to be some people out there like me that are different. So I guess if you if you feel the same way, if you think that things need to change, if you have any comments like along this and whatnot, tell me about it. Go ahead and comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on the topic. Share with me your experiences, and like, I want to hear your story. You tell me about it. Give this video a like if you agree with anything that I've said. Show me that I'm not the only person out there who thinks that this world currently is a godforsaken place and really needs a change, because it's not going anywhere great like anytime soon if we don't. And if you want to hear more about this, let me know as well. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you want to get daily updates on this and whatever else. I'm going to be coming to you with more topics about life and human interaction and things and whatnot as well. I'll probably keep those on Monday, and then on Friday have the fun, interesting things. Not that this isn't quote unquote fun. It's just it's a tough topic. So maybe that's what I'll call Mondays. Hot Topic Mondays. Yeah. Go ahead, like, subscribe. I think there's a notifier bell now. I don't know. I'm old school YouTuber, so I'm used to just a like and a subscribe. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate every single view that I get and every single subscribe that I get. So you guys stay classy, and I will see you later.